Siona God, hello all. Good afternoon, and Wado, thank you for watching. So this is part 4 of reading these documents that Bing's AI told me to print of Trump's mentioning in the Epstein files. There were no emails, like they told us. That's all gaslighting. Those are depositions made to look like emails so that they are in a way for anybody to be able to read, because all this court stuff is difficult to read. If you've been following along, you get it. Okay, and he was only mentioned 35 times in all of these documents. These are the pages from the documents that he was mentioned in, and it was a total number 35 times. So this one is June 14, 2016, and I can't read the case and document number, and I'm going to show you why, because it's printed over itself. I couldn't even read it on the computer. Manhattan. The photograph that appeared last weekend shows the prince strolling through Central Park with 58-year-old Epstein. Andrew was said to have spent 4 days at his New York mansion in December when he was joined by other distinguished guests, including Woody Allen, at a dinner. It is by no means the first New York soiree Andrew has attended as Epstein's guest. A lengthy profile of the financier in Vanity Fair magazine some years ago reported that Andrew was a guest at a cocktail party thrown by Epstein and Maxwell, packed with young Russian models. Some guests were horrified, and the article's author, Vicky Ward, it should not be forgotten that Epstein is a registered sex offender after recently completing his sentence for offenses relating to child prostitution. However, he avoided trial on more serious charges that carried a potential life sentence, and no one reading the Mail on Sunday's interview with the women who was prepared to testify against him can be in any doubt of the seriousness of the charges. Epstein, a Wall Street money manager who once counted Bill Clinton and Donald Trump among his friends, became the subject of an undercover investigation in 2005 after the stepmother of a 14-year-old girl claimed she was paid $200, which is 125 euros, to give him an erotic massage. The subsequent FBI probe uncovered at least 20 girls leveling sexual allegations against him. Eventually, Epstein struck a plea bargain with prosecutors, a practice not permitted under British law, under which he was allowed to plead guilty to 2 relatively minor charges. Police claimed that his donations to politicians and his dream team of influential lawyers deferred prosecutors from bringing more serious charges of sex trafficking. The deal certainly kept the names of a lot of Epstein's famous friends out of an embarrassing court case. However, an unusual part of the agreement was that Epstein's alleged victims were allowed to bring civil proceedings against him. He has so far made 17 out of court settlements, and some cases are ongoing. One of these girls was to have been a key witness for the prosecution. Had the case gone to trial, she was just 15 years old when she was drawn into Epstein's exploitative world in 1988. In her civil writ against him under the pseudonym Jane Doe 102, she alleged that her duties included being sexually exploited by Epstein's adult male peers, including royalty. Now, horrified by the evidence of Epstein and Andrew enjoying each other's company in New York, Jane Doe 102 has agreed to waive her anonymity and tell for the first time her deeply disturbing story. Her real name is Virginia Roberts, and she now lives in Australia, where she is a happily married mother of 3. Over the course of a week during which she spoke at length to the Mail on Sunday, she appeared sometimes vulnerable and sometimes steely, but always quietly resolute and consistent. Revisiting events from a past that she had hoped she had left behind, Virginia occasionally buried her face in her hands. Some recollections, and for reasons of taste, not all the details can be included here, caused her to flush with shame. "I'm telling you things that even my husband didn't know," she said. Virginia, who has undergone counseling to try to come to terms with her past, is honest about her initiation into Epstein's depraved world. She was a troubled teenager whose slender figure, delicate complexion, hesitant voice, and soulful blue eyes made her look young for her years. Born in Sacramento, California in August 1983, Virginia spent her years on a small ranch on the west coast of America. This seemingly idyllic childhood ended when she was sexually molested by a man close to her family. The fallout from that led to her parents temporarily splitting. Blaming herself, Virginia began to get into trouble at age 11. She was sent to live with an aunt, but repeatedly ran away. Living on the streets, she was beaten up and slept with at least 2 older men in return for food. "I was a pedophile's dream," she says. 3 years later, she was reunited with her family and started a new life with her father, who had moved to Palm Beach, Florida, where he was maintenance manager at Donald Trump's country club, Mar-a-Lago. Virginia got a part-time job as a changing room assistant, which is where soon after her 15th birthday, she met Ghislaine Maxwell, who invited her to work as Epstein's personal masseuse. So I'm going to tell you, being forced to work at 15, you can work at 15. You can even actually work at 14. I don't know if you could do it now, but I know you could do it back then. If you get a sign, like a waiver from your parents. So my mom actually had to sign for me to work. So let's see. I was wearing my uniform, a white miniskirt and a skin-tight white polo top when I was approached by Ghislaine. Virginia said, I told her I wanted to become a masseuse, and she said she worked for a very wealthy gentleman who was looking for a traveling masseuse. I'd get training and be paid well. Virginia's father gave his blessing, believing his daughter was being handed the opportunity to learn a skill and to work for a wealthy, respectable employer. And just really quickly, so in the previous documents that I read, the pages, I noticed that it said that Ghislaine went to Mar-a-Lago to get a massage. Now, I don't know if you're realizing this, but that is a resort, okay? So where Donald Trump lives is the resort that he built. He lives on the grounds there. So it's like if you want to go to any place to get a massage or a facial or whatever, and you're wealthy and you want good service, you go to where people have not done you dirty, and that would be someplace on his resort, and you take tennis lessons or whatever it is that you want to do. It's like a one-stop shop, right, for your normal everyday things, like you'd go to the gym or whatever it is, right? That is my understanding. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm telling you how because I'm not rich, right? I'm trying to understand how these people are moving through their lives or their days or whatever it is. So anyway, he drove her to Epstein's pink mansion on the Palm Beach waterfront. He also owns a 9-story home in New York, the city's biggest private residence, a 7,500-acre ranch called Zorro in New, and it stops there. So this is an article from the Daily Mail. So it says http www.dailymail.com UK/news article -1361039 /prince-andrew-girl-17-sex-offender-friends -flu-britain-meet-him.html if you want to read this yourself in its entirety. I just got this from the Black Vault documents. That's where I was instructed to go to. And then here's what it says for the pictures that are on the side. They have these descriptions, kind of like what you would do for your scrapbook or whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's not that here. But you know what I mean? Because we don't know what we're looking at, right? So the first one, it says, need a tight tush. Leanne Rimes illustrates how to get a firm booty as she does yoga in skimpy tank top and leggings exercise tips. So this is from their website, and this is clickbait for you to click on, right? The next one says, I want them really big. Blonde bombshell begs doctors to make her 1,000 cc implants even after they insist her enhanced breasts are perfect on botched. The next one says, it's my 4th favorite reality show. Jessica Alba and Kate Hudson are mean girls as Chris Martin plays for laughs in Sarah and Aaron Foster's Barely Famous. Now hang on just a second. Now listen to me logically, right? This is a news article from the Daily Mail UK. So they've got their clickbait stuff on the side here. Now, every person that is mentioned in this clickbait stuff means that their name is now in the Epstein files. Think about it, okay? Stick with me here. So Jessica Alba, Kate Hudson, Sarah and Aaron Foster. Let's see. The show Botched is now mentioned in there. Leanne Rimes, right? So now let's move to the next page. He's turned into an absolute jerk. Former Celebrity Apprentice star Vivica A. Fox slams Donald Trump but says he's not a racist. She's no longer a fan. So Vivica Fox is now mentioned in there. Donald Trump is mentioned again because of this clickbait for Celebrity Apprentice. Okay, and Celebrity Apprentice is now mentioned in the files because it is part of the clickbait. Do you see where I'm getting at? I don't see, here's the next one. I don't see a dark past anymore. On here, here's the picture right here of Vivica Fox and Donald Trump right there. So we're the 4th one down. Now we're going to the 5th one. I don't see a dark past anymore. Paris Jackson reveals tattoos have helped cover her scars and self-hatred and moving Instagram posts. So now, poor Paris Jackson, right, is in there. Here's the next one. How the season's hottest beach babes, including Haley Steinfeld and Kendall Jenner are embracing, jeez. How the season's hottest beach babes, including Haley Steinfeld, and Kendall Jenner are embracing jewelry at the seashore's chic on the beach. So now that store chic is mentioned here, so is Haley Steinfeld and Kendall Jenner. This old thing, Duchess of Cambridge recycles a 10-year-old brocade coat as she plants a tree at garden party from the back of her wardrobe. So now the Duchess of Cambridge is mentioned in there. Exclusive. Alexa Curtin, daughter of Real Housewives star Lynn, is charged with drug possession 2 months after accusing OC deputy sheriff of raping her during a traffic stop. So now the show, Real Housewives, and then the daughter, okay, and Alexa Curtin, and then the daughter Lynn is now in the Epstein files. Get it? I told my mom she's a grandma. Maria Menounos shared excitement about her frozen embryos in poignant IVF interview given before negative pregnancy test. So now Maria Menounos is in there as well. Jean Simmons, daughter of Sophie, Jean Simmons' daughter Sophie says she was told she was not small enough to be a model and reveals her mom taught her to love her shape. Okay, so now Jean Simmons is in there, and the daughter Sophie. So Sophie Simmons is now in the Epstein files. You see how that works? Okay, so done to go hang, you in a good channel, telling me again, love you, mean it.